Hi, my name's Lisa and I live in this tiny 1969 vintage caravan, traveling all around the place and doing a little bit of saxophone busking on the side for a bit of extra income.
Hello, my beautiful YouTube tribe. Um, Sorry, I have not posted much of an. Okay, there you go. This is the reason why I have not been updating you in the last sort of few days. I'd said that I needed to take a break, which I did, but in typical Lisa's body fashion, when I've been running for a while with a heightened anxiety and stress load, then finally when it's all over oftentimes is when you'll crash and get sick, right? So I've noticed that tendency, and that tickly throat that I'd had from like before the start of the storm, it obviously progressed quite badly to the point where I now have a very bad cough, very bad pain at the back of my head, which could be possibly due to the pinching nerve situation. I don't really know what's going on, but either way, I'm run down and I'm sick, and I'm not surprised. I'm giving myself grace for the fact that I'm feeling run down and crappy because there was so much to deal with. There's only so much, a human can cope with in terms of heightened anxiety states and stress, especially if you're a very sensitive person like me. I just made myself a brew of warm lemon honey and lots of cayenne pepper, and I got Manuka honey, the magical honey from New Zealand. This is actually New Zealand Manuka honey in here. Don't normally include honey as part of a carnivore diet, but for healing benefits, it's brilliant. So I've been having one of these every day just to kick it over. I've been making this brew since my kids were little. Someone put me onto this concoction when I was a teenager, said it was a magical cure for the cold, and so I've been using it ever since, and on my kids when they were little and sick as well. So the cayenne pepper kind of sweats it all out of you. Thankfully I've had no fever or chills or anything like that. It's just tiredness, croaky throat affected my voice, and tightness in my chest and difficulty breathing, and a lot of really painful dry coughing, which is not fun at all. That helps. So yeah, when you're dealing with a lot of stress, and I think it all started with the video that so many of you sort of discovered me through, which was the I lost my job video, and trying to wrap my head around all of that and come to terms with something that I was struggling to really understand. And it made me feel crappy about myself, like it triggered the very much that I'm not good enough tapes in my head, which is never a fun place to be when you've got complex PTSD. You don't really need any reminders of that. You're working very hard to overcome that and renew your own sense of self-worth, given that you've not really received enough validation for that, is hard work. So sometimes things will trigger that off and make you go back into that I'm not good enough. But I pulled myself up through that with the decision of, studying Stoic philosophy a lot of the time. I've always been called Stoic. I never really knew what that meant until I delved into Stoicism as a philosophy form and understood why people called me Stoic, because you choose it. At the end of the day, do I choose to linger in this feeling of crap? I don't feel good about what happened. I'm not going to ever work out what the other person's headspace was and change it, the situation that caused that scenario for me. I could only focus on my personal response to that. And if dwelling and ruminating on my personal response makes me feel crappy, then I'm just going to choose not to. They have a right to do what they want to do. I have a right to cope with it in however way I need to cope with it. And for me, that meant just letting go and moving on. So I'd done that. That was the decision I'd made, and I am still at peace with that decision. Like, I'm okay. It wasn't meant to be. Some things just don't work out. That's fine. I will overcome this challenge just like I overcome every other challenge. Grab yourselves a cup of tea. Let's have a chat. It could be a while. I've had so many things on my mind, and I was like, oh, you just, make a video. But I was like, I'm so tired, and I don't feel good, and my voice is funny. And anyway, pull yourselves off a cup of tea. We'll talk about it, you and me. So yeah, that was how I handled that situation. And, kudos to me. And my psychologist reaffirmed that for me. Said, when I said, oh, I can't handle it, she goes, but you are handling it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am handling it, And she's always doing that. She's always making me feel validated about things that show that I'm growing and I'm healing and I'm improving. And, bless her for that. Right off the bat of that actual appointment, the one that I filmed when I was down on the beach, that day that I decided to let it go, and I had my psychologist appointment, my mum, who had been really supportive and encouraging and validating up until the point, kind of didn't have any patience with me feeling like dark forces were playing on me. And I was like, this is like really scaring me, because I felt like it was a demonic dark versus light situation. And her advice was to talk to a professional, which I'd already booked in to do, and I do on a regular basis, and take some melatonin because it's just night terrors. And I was pretty frustrated by that, because I'm like, it's not night terrors. This was a real situation that I was facing in my real life. And yes, it did affect my sleep, because I was ruminating and triggered in that way that, we are, as human beings, hardwired to focus on the one negative thing. They call it a negative bias, because, in caveman times, and I think I've spoken about this before, we needed to focus on the one dangerous element that was happening in our life for our own survival. So all the positivity just goes out the window. You're like focused on that. That's just, especially when you're in a PTSD type state and that lower part of your brain kicks in, any sign of danger, you're just hyper vigilant to it. So anyway, I didn't like that advice very much. I didn't think it was helpful. And I said that it felt very dismissive to me. I said, when you say things like that, it feels very dismissive. And, this is what I read into that. You should be talking to a psychologist or a professional means you're broken and there's something wrong with you and it's more than I can handle. And, take a couple of melatonin because it really helps me sleep. It's like, it's like the old adage from the doctor. You go to the doctor and you explain everything that's going on for you, and they say, take 2 Panadols and call me in the morning. This seems to be sliding down a little bit. I'm just going to lift that tripod up just a little bit, because I feel like I'm not sure why, if it's sinking down by itself or if I just moved. Anyway, that's better. I'm not even going to edit this one, so you have to put up with all this in between. Oh, sorry. Excuse my cough. And I need to call people out when they say things that hurt my feelings like that, and I feel dismissed and I feel unheard. And I thought we had evolved to a point where I could say, hey, that's not cool. That's not a supportive, kind thing to say. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? No, none of those things. And I said that, and then, yeah, the usual routine. Oh, this is why I never help you, because you always end up criticizing me, and all gets thrown back on me. And I'm like, oh, I'm the evil person. I get punished twice. Like I said in a previous video about this, it's this double punishment thing. You get punished by the thing that hurt your feelings. You say, hey, that hurt my feelings, and all of a sudden you get attacked for being an ungrateful, horrible, spiteful person. And the fun and the timing of it, how impeccable, was literally like the last 2 minutes of my psychologist appointment was when these messages came in. And it was like, yeah, you always criticize me. You always end up criticizing me. Every time I'm trying to help you, you end up criticizing me. And this was the clincher. If this is the way you treat people who care about you, then you will always have struggles in life. That hit me pretty hard, I gotta tell you. I was shocked. I didn't want to talk about it at the time because, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I keep to myself sometimes, and this thing is definitely sinking down again. Hey, tripod, stay where you're supposed to stay and stop sliding around. Right? Stay. Sit, stay. Not you, Pixie. You're doing good. Yeah. At that point, I'm realizing this is the recurrent pattern that always happens, and I'm acceptable and loved and supported as long as I'm bright and shiny and doing everything I can to be as independent as possible and not needing anything. And as soon as I'm really struggling and I really, really need some emotional support, the emotional support is not there at all and has never been there. So, yeah, we're back to no contact again because it just hurts my heart too much to be feeling so unheard. And the fact that I was getting more encouraging, positive messages from random strangers than I was from my family was, yeah, it was pretty hard to handle, but not uncommon scenario for me. So, yeah. The saga continues. And I'm not doing this as a woe is me type of thing. Like, it is what it is. About, I don't know, 2 or 3 days after that, losing my job and dealing with all the fallout from that and trying to cope with that change in my circumstances and pushing myself to go out busking more often to make up for the difference so I could pay this mechanic and all of that. I had some really tragic news when I found out that my really dear, dear, dear friend, my favoriteest caravan friend, Carolyn, passed away. And you would have heard me talking about her in the video about how she was going to come up here and visit me, and we've gone on crazy caravan trips together. She will be in quite a few of my videos. I've stayed with her every time I've cruised up and down the coast. We always have a great time. We get on really well. She's a stylish vintage caravan queen, really. She's adorable, and she's been a huge part of my life. Like, she has been like uplifting me and sending me cute little gifts and things. Actually, even before I left America, I remember that Christmas I had alone in America before I actually left. She sent me a little care package, and it had some like Christmas bunting and some Australian Christmas lollies and all these cute little thoughtful things, because that's just the kind of person she was. She had the biggest heart, you know. Actually, she gave me this. This is my my cute little fluffy pink flamingo. I put the bow on it. That's actually a dog bow, but I put it on that. She gave me that. She gave me the beautiful flower lampshade that I have up here in the caravan. She gave me a little sign that's hanging down in my bedroom corner above Pixie's bed that says, "You are amazing," because she knew that I loved that Alex Lloyd song, "You Are Amazing," and she signed the back of it and said, like, "You really are," signed Carolyn and the date. There's probably a little, the kettle, my pink kettle. You know, I was like, oh, she's showing me all the different colors she has for the different themes she sets up for her caravan, and she's got different theme colors for Easter and winter and, you know, like all different things. And I said, oh, if you ever come across a pink kettle, let me know, because I really, really would love a pink kettle. And she just reaches into the cupboard at her house and she pulls it out. She goes, here you go, you can have this one. What a doll. Anyway, that was very sad. And I had a whole day of just absolute grief, just crying and crying and crying. And I came here and I lit a little candle and I spoke to her spirit, you know, and just told her how much she meant to me, and that, yeah, Anyway, I asked her if she'd be one of my angels and that she could come hang out in my caravan with me anytime she wants, and I think she's here. I think she would love that. And yeah, grief. It's a weird thing, isn't it? There were times when I was just in complete denial, like it just didn't feel real. We were only chatting last week. We were all talking about, the trip that they were going to make up here, and joking around, and she'd send me funny memes and funny little reels and things about things that would make me laugh. And there was this one moment where I was like, oh, I wish I just called, like, between all that chatting and just one more, I wish I could have just made one more phone call. But she went to work that day. She was staying at her brother's house in Sydney because that's where she'd stay and where she came to visit me when I was in Sydney. And she was fine at dinner and laughing and talking and watching stuff on TV, and then she went to bed and never woke up. So they're saying heart failure. She didn't have any known heart conditions. It seems really strange. And kind of ironic that the person I would talk about is having the biggest heart. It's like she gave so much of her heart to everyone else. And there wasn't enough left for her. I'm going to miss her so much. Yeah, anyway. I thought I was okay with it by now. But it was a lot. It hurts to lose somebody that you really, really care about. And then straight off the bat of that, it was cyclone time. And I'm getting all these warnings from people and some really unhelpful comments on my videos saying basically that I'm being stupid, and that if I think that those stakes and those ratchet straps are going to hold down my caravan, you've got another thing coming. That, why am I so stupid to stay here? And I kept explaining, my truck is not here. It's at the mechanic. We're waiting for parts. I have no choice. I asked one of the other campers who was staying as well to move me at least away from the river and away from the trees even further to get to the safest place I could possibly be to withstand whatever may come, which nobody really knew because the forecast kept changing on a daily, sometimes every 2 hours, and I was really checking. I wasn't just checking the news because I don't have a television, so I'm not seeing it, but on YouTube they would sometimes put clips, and there was a lot of fear mongering and a lot of dramatization about how drastic this was going to be. And for me as an anxious person, that was really hard. So I had to deliberately not watch that kind of stuff and just try and stick with my intuition, with my faith, with my hope, with my resilience, with my belief that I have been guided and protected so many times in so many adverse situations that I would not be forsaken during that time as well. And strangely enough, that's exactly what happened. When I went to pay another week the other day, even Dean said to me, he goes, I don't know what church you go to, he said, but even he was surprised how much we were spared. Like, we were really, really spared up here. Really spared compared to how bad the winds and things got. I mean, the outer islands protected a lot of the impact. They kind of copped it more than us. But I was fine. And so, but it went on and on and on. That whole process from there's a cyclone coming to there's a cyclone here to, oh no, it's not actually here, it hasn't come, it's still coming, to, oh yes, now it's gone, but now there's flooding rains coming on the back of it that's going on for days, and you're all in danger again. Like, it was just such a long process. And there's just constant anxiety. I mean, I might act like I'm cheerful and I'm coping and whatever, but don't think I wasn't anxious. I mean, I did not have a solid night's sleep for that whole time because you're just hyper vigilant, aware. Like, I don't want to be in a caravan that goes smashing into a million pieces across the paddock, like, I had disrupted sleep. I'd had disrupted sleep already from the trauma of losing my job and my friend, and then the cyclone happened, and it's been really rough, really rough. I took such great heart in the fact that during amongst all that, you guys, random strangers that were being positive and encouraging and supportive and sending me donations and just unexpected gifts, like, just felt so amazing, just amazing to me. So helpful, so kind, so generous. People's spirits were so generous during a time when I was really struggling. And it got me all motivated, like, yay, YouTube's awesome. I'm going to make so much more videos. I can bring you guys along with me and go back to my happy place, go back out on the road, do fun things, connect with nature, see beautiful places, explore, do me. And that being me, you guys made me feel that being me was okay. And I don't feel that a lot of the time from most people. It meant so much. I'm sorry, I don't know. I did not expect to cry during this one. You must think I cry all the time. I don't. I'm run down and I'm sick, and there's been a lot. It was a lot. And then as soon as the worst of it had passed, and yes, the river did rise, and I did go down and film it a little bit, but it had already started dropping by then.
It is Monday, 4 p.m. and I just thought I'd come down here and check out how my favorite swimming hole is looking. Oh my goodness, look at this. Just gotta be really careful because it's slippery going down the track. I'll go slow. Wow, this is crazy. It came right up to here. Look, you can tell by the flattened grass that the water actually came all the way up to here at one point. It's the heavy rain has died down a bit now, and it's just sort of gone back to drizzle. But I'll go a bit closer and show you. That is insane. Oh my lord. Wow. Yeah, you can see the flattened trees over there. It was up even higher than this. Definitely wouldn't want to be swimming in there now. This has been my go out and take Pixie for a walk. Just put the hoodie on, and it's getting wetter and wetter, and I don't have an actual raincoat, so but yeah, the heavy rain has finally subsided, and it's just gone back to the drizzle that it was when it first started. So whether or not we get more of this tonight, I'm not really sure, but I haven't been feeling the best. I've got this croaky thing, and I've just been so tired from just the disrupted sleep over the past week, you know, waking up in the middle of the night and worrying about the weather and the anxiety, and it's been a lot, you know. And on top of that, I'd only just sort of been dealing with the stressful circumstances of losing my job, and then barely had time to catch my breath, and it was like, the caravan home might be in danger, there's a cyclone coming, and prepping for that, and then going, I got through that, and it's like, oh no, now everywhere's flooding. Like, are you still going to be okay? I mean, I was pretty confident that this river wouldn't rise up over the banks, because it is quite a steep bank to get down to it, but it has done it before, so it's always been in the back of the mind. So I'm just very much counting my blessings today, and thank you to God and all you beautiful humans for praying for me, and for, I don't know, my faith being upheld in all of this, that I am protected and I am guided, and trusting my own intuition on the situation and doing what I felt was needed was best. And yeah, sorry, this is me, squinty eyes, not slept properly and feeling a bit crappy, but I'm also very happy and very relieved. I keep saying this over and over, that, you know, the worst is over and then something else happens and surprises us, but let's hope this is it. Monday afternoon, rain's picking up a little bit now, so I'm going to head back. I just had to take poor Pixie out. She's missing her big long walk, so I try and take her out twice a day, even if it's raining, just so she can do her business and have a little bit of outside time.
And at that point, once the water subsided, and, you know, we've had sort of intermittent rain and patches of sun again ever since then, I've been sick. Like, it was just like bang, like a switch. As soon as all the trauma and drama and stress and hypervigilance was no longer required, switch, my body said no. My body said, you have pushed it again. And you're right, darling, you got a cough too. Did you get a drink of water? Oh, I know what it is. I turned the what do you call it? The dehumidifier off, which keeps us cool in here as well. I turned it off because I boiled the kettle and you can't run the two at the same time. And so she's probably getting a bit hot. So I will cut it here and I'll come back. I'm going to go turn this thing back on and cool us down a little bit. Back with you. Oh, excuse me. That's a bit rude, coughing in front of my friends. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I don't want to make it too long. You guys are very patient with me, and you know, as I've said before, I've got other things that I really want to make videos about, specifically that ABC interview. I've had a couple of email responses sent to me from ABC since doing that interview, which are very interesting, and I want to talk about those as well. Yeah. Just trying to get better at the moment. Trying to get better physically mainly, resting a lot, sleeping a lot. Like I'm just sleeping, because I think that that's the best way to let your body heal. When I went outside before, one of my neighbors was like, oh, you know, they asked, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm really crappy. You know, I don't have anyone that I can say, hey, you know, I need something from the shop. Can you do this? Do you do that? No, nobody's called or offered or asked, and I don't want to ask. So I did drag myself up there the other day to just get some Manuka honey and some lemons and another Ventolin inhaler, because I used to be asthmatic. I'm not anymore, but this thing has made it difficult to breathe. So I got a Ventolin inhaler, and you know, I'm looking after me because nobody else does, right? And that's fine. I'm used to that. But then another one of them said, because I guess they've seen me just cooped up in here with the curtains drawn for the last few days, and I do take Pixie out like 2 or 3 times. I'll do a big loop around with her because she loves that. And this woman said, like, oh, you need to get out in the sun. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I know all this stuff. Like, I know about the benefits of sunlight and grounding, and I'm like harping on about that all the time. Like, I don't need to be told. And at the moment I was like, well, yeah, I know. I said I will, but at the moment I can't even move. Like, I'm struggling, and I just want to rest, and I'm tired. And when this solar storm that we're currently experiencing, like, there's a massive solar storm, and I'm super electromagnetically sensitive, so I'm sure that all of that has been contributing to everything that I've been feeling. Huge geomagnetic forces happening around the earth at the moment that I would rather just kind of sit in here in my little tin can, like, and protect myself as much as possible. When I am feeling to the point of recovery, then I will go and lay out in the sun again and do all that. And I know that that heals, and it might be counterintuitive to do that after you're feeling better, but I'm just a very strong believer in listen to what your body needs, and my body just needs to just curl up in bed at the moment and sleep. So that's what I'm doing. So that's it from me, guys. I love you all, and I'm really hoping to feel better in the next couple of days. I did have a telehealth doctor's appointment, and she suggested it was just some sort of viral type thing by the fact that the cough was dry and not productive. It didn't seem to be bacterial. She said oftentimes it's 3 days getting worse and then 3 days getting better. So that should mean I'm at the worst of it. This is like, you know, the starting to get better. And I do feel teensy little bit better today than I did yesterday. So yeah, I'm confident that I'll be back to my normal bouncy self, and I'm looking forward to having a brain that kind of functions with a bit more clarity and enthusiasm and energy, because my energy has been severely depleted through all of this. Thank you for your continued thoughts and prayers and love and messages, and I love you very much.